Hey, Damashe. Is that better?
Yeah, man, you're on the right mic.
I was going to say the wrong mic. Don't tell me that. Oh, happy Wednesday.
Yeah, man, it is Wednesday. I think this feels
so
weird, though.
I don't know why it's so weird to record on a Wednesday. It's just weird. I feel like we just did this.
Yeah, it feels weird. Like, it almost feels like we're recording before we released the last episode, even though it came out 2 days ago.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, this is weird. I don't think we should do this too often.
Yeah, but, travel and accommodations and stuff. So you're going to be somewhere this weekend, aren't you?
Yep, I will be in Montgomery for the NFB of Alabama State Convention.
Take a Zoom recorder with you and ask some vendors some questions, and then we'll play them into next week's show.
Yeah, we'll see if that
Or
works.
the following week's show.
I mean, I will have a Zoom recorder because I have to have one out for display anyway. But I feel like I have lost a ton of micro SD cards.
Oh, man. I don't want to talk about it. They're all in your Raspberry Pi. They could be in my Raspberry Pi.
That's a place I didn't think to look. No.
I bet you have one in a Raspberry Pi. You probably started a project and then didn't finish it. If you're anything like me. Oh.
Or finished it and just unplugged it at some point and hadn't plugged it back. But yeah, I bet there's one. Because at one point I had micro SD cards and all 3 Zoom recorders that I had. I can only find one Zoom recorder that has a micro SD card. Well, 2 if I count the it's not technically a Zoom recorder per se, but the P4 Next does have a SIM card. I'm pretty sure I stole that micro SD card out of the H6. But there's not one in the H5 Studio, and there's one in the H1E. So yeah, I don't know. Fortunately, most people don't seem to care about the H5 Studio when I go to state conventions here. Oh, there's also one in the BlindShell, so I think that is probably where one of them got to.
Pull that one out. You don't need it in
probably.
there. Because you're not using it anymore, are you?
Oh, that grand experiment has come to an end.
2 weeks? I mean, I'm not judging you. There's no judgment here. I'm just saying.
I'm trying to actually calculate. I feel like it might have been slightly longer than 2 weeks.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. I think I might have made it 3 weeks. So here's the thing. One, it was never meant to last for. I did actually intend on getting through the convention before I switched. That was the original plan, to see if I can make it that far. But it was never meant to be a permanent thing. Mostly what actually did it for me is I kind of got tired of carrying 2 phones. And the way the BlindShell is made, it's a little chunky in your pocket when you also have to carry your iPhone. I feel like I would have did better if it was 2 smartphone type layouts, slab type phones, as opposed to the candy bar style of that phone, because it's a little thick. And then there was just other weird stuff that, was getting irritating. Like, I would leave, or I would be outside or be in another part of the house and I left the BlindShell somewhere, and then I miss a business call, and it's like, or, stuff like that. Text messages getting weird. I don't know. It was fun. I don't hate the phone, but it's also, not necessarily the phone that I want to carry for me personally. It's not a phone designed for me. Be super annoying. You're trying to dictate a text message, and occasionally you still get that network error or whatever it is. It's like, okay, well, listen, I need to do this thing with Ira, so let me open up Ira or Be My Eyes. And it's like, you don't have an internet connection. I'm like, you're shitting me, I don't.
What do you mean I don't have an internet connection? Give it back to me. You took it away from me. It's there.
Yeah, like, what are you doing? But, and also I did never get, dual SIM to work, which that wasn't a deal breaker. It's just, that was something to test during the time. But that experiment is over. And you're right. I could actually take that SIM card out of the BlindShell because
SD card.
Yeah, micro SD card out of the BlindShell because I'm not using. I didn't actually use it for anything to begin with, other than to, I think, move ringtones. No, get my contacts in there is what I did. So I put the contacts on the micro SD card and put it in, and then imported those. So absolutely could retrieve that one and wipe it. I think. Yeah, there's nothing in there. I mean, maybe some custom ringtones. I don't know. Nobody cares about those.
But it'll give you an SD card, and
it will give me an SD card where it's more needed. Because, it's not like I'm going to demonstrate to somebody how to back up the phone at convention. Like, that's not a thing. Come back in 20 minutes and, we'll be nearly done.
And it'll still be vibrating. So what's new?
Not a whole lot, man, to be honest. Like, I kind of feel like one thing, this has been a shorter week, but it's not really been a shorter week. It just feels that way. Also, I haven't done a lot. I am closer to having a commercial space and an office to work out of, which will be huge.
Was that the news you were talking about last week?
Yeah, I just decided we'll talk about it right now because it's not done, but it's going to get done. But yeah, I was gonna announce it when I stayed up there one night and just recorded the show from in the office, but I was like, screw it.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. This guy that works next door to me over here is really loud. He's hammering together a car out of bare metal or something. Because Jesus, he's making a lot of racket. But yeah, I'm close to that point. I have, in the meantime, deferred hiring. I hadn't actually put out an application or updated any notices anywhere. Anyhow, because I had to implement Mike's rule or Mike's suggestion, which is just use Zoom or something to interview people. I was like, man, that was, that was so simple that it was genius.
Yeah, it's sometimes the simple things that can make a big difference. Or Google Meet, one of those video conferences. Are you paying for Zoom?
That's a very difficult question for me to answer because I don't actually know. Like, I have Zoom Pro. But I'm not really sure how I have Zoom Pro because I can't trace where what I think I may have actually been billed by them like 2 months ago. Now that I think about it.
So I bring this up because JJ asked a very interesting comment on Mastodon. Well, not very interesting, but interesting as in it gives us something to talk about for TW159. And that is, if I pay for Zoom, but I already have Google Meet, my Google Workspace, what more am I getting? And I don't have an answer for him.
I said that 7 years ago.
You did.
I'm not even really entertaining that as a discussion topic. Like, I told people this. There is nothing you're gaining by having Zoom unless you are using very specific features to Zoom, most of which were added since I said that. Actually, most of which were added since the pandemic. So,
for this bloatware? Because that's really what it is now.
Yeah, that's really what it has turned into. So there was a point where Zoom was easier to deal with just across the board for most people.
Do you remember Zoom in 2018, 19, when we were doing work for that client and he put together classes? I think it was 2018, 19 when Mitchell Tepper.
Yep, he was using Zoom and the webinar feature.
It's just so much cleaner. Like, I missed those days.
Yeah, it was.
And then everyone else found Zoom, and it's just busy.
And it's like they just couldn't. They couldn't figure. Well, I mean, they should have. I feel like they should have invested more time in infrastructure and building. Stability into their platform. Not that it's super unstable, but just building that stability instead of, we're going to be a phone service now. Why?
And now we're going to be a docs provider. That's the why for me. Like, I get phone.
Calendar. I mean, I kind of got phone, but at the same time, to me, that was the sign like you're headed in the wrong direction, though, because that wasn't a necessary thing that you needed to do.
Correct. And then, of course, AI from the great kids ask your parents what life was like before 2024.
Yeah, because AI is just everywhere now. And what's funny to me is with Zoom, in a lot of cases, Zoom was one of the first, I would say, applications of its type. I can't really put a category on it. Like, it's a SaaS app, software as a service, but there's a lot of those. But the first one that kind of had an app marketplace where you can bring things in. I guess G Suite kind of had this in certain areas, but not with their video platform, for example. And Zoom was the first to do this, to my knowledge, where it's like, oh, you can plug in what am I trying to think of? What was one of the tools? Because everybody lets you link to Google Calendar and all of that. And I had one on top of my head until I started trying to explain what type of service Zoom was. You just said a feature that they added to. So let's take AI, for example, right? So Zoom AI comes out, and Zoom was one of the first places where people were like, hey, we have a bot that you can add to your Zoom account that can sit in your meetings and take a transcript. It's like, okay, you have these third-party things that do this. Cool. But then Zoom decides, hey, people are doing this, and we should do this.
Connecting their otters all over the place. And
Otter was the first one. There you go.
Yep. It was Otter.
And it's like, well, we should do this. And it's like, okay, we're gonna attempt to do the Apple thing. I honestly, and I don't mean this for people who may not like Apple. Like, I'm not trying to say like, oh, Apple came up with this grand idea and everybody's trying to rip them off. Apple, in a lot of ways, have things that work for them very specifically because of how their company is built. They're vertically integrated. They build the software, the hardware, etc. So it's easier for them to do certain things, and they oftentimes, do fairly crappy things. But they have the ability to do such a thing because they are vertically integrated system. So, for example, we have, markdown apps all over the place on Mac OS and iOS. And 10 years go by and Apple's just like, yep, markdown apps all over the place. And then one day Apple decides to, we're going to give you the ability to write in markdown and export markdown in Apple Notes. And at that point, you have literally just stepped on several businesses. I'm not going to say everybody's business, but you have just stepped on several businesses right there and made yourself be in direct competition with them. Streaming services would be another avenue to look at, right? Whether it's Apple Music or Apple TV, because it's not called Plus anymore. I don't know how to address that anymore. But those two services, right? So, Spotify was getting along. I mean, go all the way back to Pandora.
I was just talking to someone the other day, and they're still using Pandora, just as a fun fact.
You'd be surprised how many people are still using Pandora.
Ridiculous. I mean, keep using it, people.
It is ridiculous. Like, the ads are crazy.
The app isn't even that good from what I remember.
It never was.
I feel like
that
I'm
good.
very loud. Am I loud to you?
Nope.
Okay. And it's just
I feel very loud. Like, I actually just tweaked my gain down a little bit a few minutes ago because I felt like I was super loud.
I just turned my headphones down. I forgot that I had voiceover down at 5%. And then I cranked it up really loud so I could hear things. So that explains why I was louder.
But you had Pandora, Spotify came along, you had other services, and, then Apple Music comes in, and it's like, now you're in direct competition with people who are making money on your platform. Similarly with the TV streaming service, like the streaming service, right? Netflix, obviously, but there's been Hulu and Disney Plus and all these things that came around, like, and then here comes your service, and you're now in direct competition with people who are making money on your platform. Not saying that you cannot do that as the software vendor. It seems a little iffy and a little gray area-ish to me sometimes in the way that they do it, but it's a little different, I guess, for them because they're the company, and also who's going to say anything. And the only people screaming about it are Spotify, and
right.
Nobody cares. Not saying I don't care, but I'm saying like the industry doesn't seem to care.
Yeah.
About such an issue, right? I mean, so here comes Zoom, and here comes Otter. Otter jumps in and is like, yeah, well, we've been doing meeting transcriptions, so we're just going to plug right into Zoom now because we can do this thing and use AI to transcribe your meeting. And I don't even think we make it 6 months with the Otter, and here comes Zoom. Like, oh yeah, we're going to do that too. And here's the difference of Otter having this feature, Spotify having this, Spotify having an app on iOS, Netflix having an app on iOS versus Zoom choosing to get into this business and Apple choosing to get into this business and competing directly with, people who were using their platform to facilitate services and software. Not only do you jump into the same business, which is fine. Again, that probably is your right to do that. But you crap up the interface to do it. Like prior to me installing Otter, which I never actually did, but if I did not install Otter, I'm not seeing promotions for Otter in my Zoom. Before Apple released Apple TV Plus and before they renamed it and, all of that stuff, there's no way I would have seen ads just shoved into the regular user interface on the iPhone or on the Mac for Pandora or Spotify or Amazon Music or Tidal. It's just not a thing that happens. And that, I think, is probably the more troubling aspect of this, which is why as soon as Zoom did phone, I was like, man, here we go. Because I could see what was about to happen, right? And they did it. They absolutely did it. And not only did they do it, like they overdid it. Because initially you could make the phone thing go away. And it's like, oh, no, I don't want this service. Close, dismiss, whatever. And I didn't see it anymore. It's like, all right, whatever. I even forgot for a short period of time that Zoom phone was even a thing. But now I log into Zoom. And why is it that every time I open Zoom, I have to log in? Does anybody have an answer to that question?
No, because I switch between Zoom accounts and I don't have to log in every time I open it. So must be one of your privacy settings.
Every single time I log into Zoom at least once a week, and every time I'm not logged in as me. I can join the meeting to do the show, but I'm not logged in as me. I log in, I see my Zoom Pro. Oh, there's a button that says get rid of, or calendar is always shown on home screen, and that button's dimmed out, so I can't turn it off. So there's a calendar over there, and there's an AI thing over there. And then they're telling me about some other thing I can do. And then there's docs, and it's like, this would be a crappy experience if I was using Zoom free and you were shoving all this crap at me.
Right.
The fact that right there up under my name it says Zoom Pro is just flat out, and it's just flat out insulting.
And I'm going to be less likely to give you more money. I'm going to start looking for other things that are easier to navigate. I went to a call today and didn't even think about it, but I registered, didn't look at the URL. Then I got an email and I clicked the link and I'm like, wait, I'm in Google Meet. And so, that was a pretty cool experience. I'm like, sweet, more people are using it. They even called it a webinar, and you went in and you were muted and it was only the people that were there, but you could still see who was attending. Let's all switch to Google Meet or Teams. Google Meet, not Teams.
So I would go Google Meet. We can't do Google Meet for the show. We would have to pick a different tool to do the show.
Why?
Well, two reasons. I don't think Google gives us individual tracks on recording.
I have not checked in 3 years.
They did not the last time that I was heavily using Google Meet. I actually was very heavily using Google Meet for a long time for all of my meetings.
Yeah.
If I was hosting the meeting, it was going to be Google Meet because I really took a stance on this, sort of like I took a stance on not calling it AI and saying machine learning because it's just a language model and it's not really smart. It's not artificially intelligent. And finally, I just gave up because everybody else just would not start saying AI. Nobody was sticking. When Apple came out, I was like, it's AI. And I was like, oh, shit, I give up.
But they called it Apple Intelligence.
Yeah, but they also called it AI. Like, they also called it artificial intelligence at some point. Like, you know, you got to watch the WWDC. Here's my thing. They tried to take the letters and make them mean something different. I mean, you know, when I first heard AI, I was like, Allen Iverson. That's what AI means to me. You know, the answer, number 3. But also, when I encountered a scenario, and this was actually during the pandemic, where not just one person, but like I had a couple of people that just could not get Google Meet rocking for them on their phone. I went to Zoom. I was like, all right, screw it. I'll go do the freaking Zoom thing then.
Man, Google Meet on the phone is pretty damn nice though now.
It was always, I think their problem was that they did not have Meet installed. Or
yeah.
Google or Gmail installed. And like for me, Gmail is always installed. The search is better if I really need to search a Gmail account. Like I'll go to the Gmail app on iOS.
How is the web, like the mail experience, or do you just use it for search? Because the Gmail app on Android sucks. It's horrible.
So,
in my opinion.
No, I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm trying to figure out how to separate the absolute hellhole that Gmail is on Android. It is slightly better in some ways on iOS. Like, let's say you want to go through and select a bunch of messages, or you want to scroll through your list easily. That is straightforward. They have taken all the extra little action buttons off, and they're just rotor actions now, all of that crap. Like, it's super smooth. If you want to search, you're going to have a decent experience searching your account there. Reading email is, you know how sometimes on Android, like it's a little, you open up a message, and once you get past the little, you know, the action button area.
Yep.
And you're trying to actually read the mail, and sometimes your focus would jump around and do weird stuff. So that still happens on iOS. What does not happen on iOS is where you're right flicking maybe through a message or whatever. And then next thing you know, you're in the whole next message in your list. And it's like, no, that doesn't happen.
That's good. That's what drives me the most crazy is,
oh man, that just stopped me from that stopped me from even trying to, even attempting to read email on Android, was because I'm actively trying to read a message, and I flick. I don't know I'm at the end of this message conversation. Like, how am I supposed to know this? No, next thing I know, I'm at the beginning of not a new thread, people, for you listening. This is not a threaded message. I have a message with a subject from, Progressive that says, your auto insurance payment is coming due soon. Okay. And then I have a message after that in my inbox from Mike that says, check out this cool new thing that Doug told me about in Discord. Right. So I'm reading the Progressive email, and I flick right one too many times, and no, it doesn't wrap around. It doesn't end. It doesn't stop. Now I'm reading Mike's message about the thing that Doug sent him in Discord. That is got to be the dumbest way of dealing with email I've ever heard of.
And I will just say, I thought it was me, because I know several people that are like, oh, Gmail on Android's just fine. And
listen, man, people have been saying Android was great for 20 years. They're lying. I don't buy it. Okay, I'm exaggerating a little bit. It ain't been 20 years. But people have been saying, oh, I can do everything on Android you can do on your iPhone since 2010. Yeah. And they have been lying for most of that time. I ain't afraid to say it. I'm not making Michael commit to saying this either. Mike's not necessarily agreeing with me. But I have said it before. You are lying. You can do a lot more today than you used to be able to do. But I'm talking about these people who used to say this in 2011, 2010, 2011. I don't know why I would go to iOS. I can do everything on my Android phone that you can do on iOS. You're lying.
Then you would ask them, how do you copy and paste? Oh, I use my computer.
Yeah, you're lying. Now listen, and we've had these conversations prior to the show. So if you're just now joining the show, thank you for being a listener. We appreciate it. Yes. We're not going to rehash how great Android has gotten over the years, because we both have shared our experiences there. There are still things about it that are crappy. but it has gotten a whole lot better. It's gotten to the point that outside of specific areas, I think I could carry an Android phone every day. Now, I wouldn't deal with my email on my phone. Well, I'm not going to say I wouldn't deal with email at all. I would look for an alternative email.
App.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I would be looking for, what is it, Aquamail or K9, figure out which one of those I liked.
Yep.
And try that out. Just as a side note, the Fastmail app sucks on both platforms. Just going to put that out there. So, but I could carry an Android phone. I have made the joke on the show. I've not actually said it to JJ. I don't think I said it to JJ direct. I would. I just don't think we've ever been in a situation where it came up. But here's why JJ sometimes is super busy and productive and doing stuff, and you see him doing a whole lot of things, and then sometimes you don't know where the hell is JJ.
Because he's on an Android.
When you're wondering where the hell is JJ, he ain't got his laptop with him, or he ain't got no internet connection. When he's got his laptop, he's doing all kinds of stuff. When he ain't, he'll answer some messages in Slack or, direct, text messages or whatever. Listen, JJ don't even have a Mastodon client. I asked JJ, like, what's a good Mastodon client for Android? Man, I hadn't even bothered to look for one. That tells me a lot right there.
Yep.
Now, granted, day-to-day stuff, like the same types of things that I was capable of doing on the BlindShell, is much better on Android, right? I can watch YouTube. I can watch some videos. There are apps I can install, such as my banking app, so I can check my balances and see if money is moving the way that it's supposed to be moving. So, but there are things on Android that I don't bother trying to do. Now, web navigation, I said we wasn't going to do this. Web navigation has gotten a whole lot better. But listen, don't email feedback at technicallyworking.show and tell me this lie. I can do everything on Android that you can do on iOS. You're lying. And I'm not neither one of us are sometimes Android users. Right? We have both spent, Mike spent a whole year.
A year plus. When I was working for Bike Hostel, I was on that Pixel, whatever it was then. It was my daily driver.
I think it was a Samsung phone, but same difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so we're not one of those fly-by-night drive-by. If you're new here, I'm just saying, thank you for listening. But if you're new here, we're not a drive-by. Oh, I tried a Pixel phone for 2 weeks and then sent it back because it was terrible. No, we're not those people. So don't you be that person and email us and say, I can do everything. No, you're lying. Stop lying.
I want proof. And if you can do everything, you can easily record your screen and send me proof.
I tell you what, let's get in Google Meet and do some comparisons of what I need to do day to day and what you're telling me you can do day to day, and let's see where we land at.
True. Yeah.
Now,
because your day to day might be different than someone else's. Well, will be different.
It is going to be different. My thing is just don't sit there and say, don't make overly broad statements about anything like that. I can do everything you can do on this platform. No, you can't. You're lying. I know you can't do it. It'd be like me saying, I could do everything on the Mac that you can do on Windows. No, I'm lying. There are some things that are absolutely better on Windows. Why do I know this? Because I pay for Parallels. It's $129 a year, but I pay for it.
Yep.
Because when I need to do certain things, do you know where the best place to do it is? Windows, and for me, NVDA, and either Firefox or Google Chrome, because I refuse to touch Edge, and I really ain't trying to hear about your Edge experiences.
I've been using NVDA almost exclusively recently.
How are you feeling about that?
Good. I'm starting to play with some more add-ons. One add-on that I'm using is the speech history add-on. That's pretty helpful for me. There's an add-on. What?
What does that one do?
It allows you to hit NVDA H and get a history of all of your speech. You can press F12 to copy the last spoken phrase to clipboard. And then you can press F11 and Shift F11 to navigate through the clipboard history, or not the clipboard history, but the speech history. So
that's a good way of putting it, because that was going to be my question. So it's sort of like doing the copy last phrase with voiceover, except you're getting a clipboard type history of that. Yep. That's nice. I didn't know about that one.
Yep, and it's obviously free. And
it's $2.99 a month is what it's gonna.
I'm also using virtual window, so that lets you hit NVDA Control W, and that'll virtualize the window, which is nice to grab text out of the window. If you're a JAWS user, you know about Alt insert W, and that'll let you also virtualize the window in JAWS. And then I'm using I've installed, I'm not going to lie and say I'm using it, but I've installed what are they called? Add-on for NVDA that apparently will let you assign shortcuts to folders and URLs. So you can tap a keyboard shortcut and go straight to a URL or straight to a folder in your machine. I need to go through and configure it and set it up, but.
Do you ever feel like, I want to come back to NVDA in a second, but just a quick sidetrack. Do you ever sometimes come across tools like that, whether it's for NVDA or anything, where you're just like, oh, you can customize all this stuff, and you're like, awesome, I need that. I've been needing this for I don't know how long. And you download it, you install it, and then you're like, man, I really ain't got the time to sit here and do all of this configuration.
Yep, because then I'm also going to have to remember how to set this up, or how to find the stuff.
What did I do when I set it up?
Yeah.
It's like, wait, why didn't you use your keyboard shortcut to launch that page? Because I don't remember what it is.
And then, because I have so much stuff built into Lisi with JAWS, I'll use shortcuts to get to different places at work, and I will close NVDA and open JAWS just to use the shortcut, when really I should just go through and set them up with this shortcut tool too. But habits.
It's habits. Now, that one would get annoying enough to me that I would probably sit down and spend the time to try to configure the tool. Having to quit NVDA and open JAWS.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's sort of like how I feel when I get annoyed when I have to toggle voiceover off to try to tap a button on the screen. Because the switch won't move or whatever. Like, it's sort of like that type of feeling. It's like, I really hate this. I don't want to do this anymore.
Because you want me to slide to transfer my money that I just confirmed.
Oh my God, I hate those. Man, I hate those.
Slide to
transfer. Now,
just let me double tap to transfer, damn it.
Here's the thing, right? I've seen this work both ways. I have seen this work both ways, where I can just double tap where it says slide to transfer or slide to pay, and it works. That's what you would expect to happen. Yep. I've also seen where I have to flick down on the rotor.
All right, that's tolerable.
And there's a rotor item that says slide to pay, and then I have to double tap in order to get it to work. Right? Either one of those is preferable to, let me try to get my finger lined up on the screen where this is. Explore by touch so I find it. Lift my finger just a little bit. Hope I don't jostle the phone too much while I'm triple clicking the button to turn off voiceover, and then try to slide across the screen without touching some other button, and then turn voiceover back on. And 2 out of the 3 times that I try to transfer money between my accounts, I realize that I'm back at the screen before this where I was supposed to be putting in something else. And it's like, you know what? How bad I really do need to transfer some money.
I think the last time I had transferred money out of Fidelity, which it's been a while since I brought money out of Fidelity.
Oh, well,
but I think they
that is a deterrent to you transferring money out of Fidelity.
Yep, sure is.
Here's that I would use to my advantage. Like, how bad? That's why I said, like, I stopped and asked myself this question before. Like, how bad do I really need to move that money from the credit union to Mercury? Because otherwise, next week, when I go pick up an order, I ain't gonna have the money to pay for it. So yeah, I should probably figure this out. And then I should also email Mercury. I should really email Mercury and say, hey, can you fix this? Because this is how it should work. It doesn't work this way. Side note, they fixed it. So good deal.
Good. I remember that.
But back to NVDA. So, have you, other than customization, like just removing the familiarity with certain things and customizations with stuff like Lisi, have you yourself found NVDA to be lacking in some functionality or capability that you have to go to JAWS for to get your work done?
Not to get my work done. Different experiences, yes, and I'm thinking specifically of Excel. So I've been working a lot in Excel with NVDA, and it's probably just a getting used to the way that NVDA announces stuff. But for example, navigate spreadsheets quite regularly, and NVDA just seems to be a lot more verbose, I think is the best way to explain it, than JAWS is. And maybe there's some add-ons and tools that I can use to fix that up. But that's really the biggest gotcha that I run into is when I'm in Excel.
So I haven't actually been in Windows in a while. So I do know that there was an add-on for Microsoft Office, which to me means, all of the Office stuff. That I don't know what it does because I wasn't using Excel, so I couldn't have tested it, so I didn't even install it. But there was that out there. I wonder also, again, because I haven't had to do this in a while, if it's possible to adjust the verbosity.
Oh, likely. Probably 100%. I will say an add-on that, speaking of Doug brought to my attention that I won't probably use because I've gotten used to the way that it does things. Oh, that's the other thing. I'll mention that in a moment. But if I'm finding something or I'm looking for an edit field or a checkbox, JAWS, when it finds the last one of those, will wrap around back to the top of the screen and then take you back to the first element that it finds on the screen. There is an add-on to let you do that. But what also gets me, it doesn't as much now, but in the beginning, it was two things. One, browse mode. Instead of using enter to go in and out of what NVDA calls browse mode, you have to use NVDA space, which again isn't a horrible thing. It's just finger gymnastics. Control F does not work the way that NVDA Control F does work. And so that's the other thing. So aside from finger gymnastics, I don't think there's any showstoppers for me, but I've been playing with it a lot more. And someone vibe coded a thing. I'm not going to call the person out because I don't know what their plans are with it, but someone vibe coded a thing and they're going to send it to me. And it gives you very similar experiences to the item chooser on Mac, but in NVDA.
So do we not have that?
There's object nav, but it doesn't work similarly. Like you can navigate through objects, but this, it's my understanding, you hit a keystroke, you're put in a search field, you start typing what you're searching for, it'll filter down to those items, you down arrow, and when you find something, if you press enter, it'll move your focus to it. If you tab, you can find the move, focus, and activate button.
Yeah, I kind of felt like that was a thing with like NVDA's F7.
That does bring all of your headings, links, and landmarks and other things. But this works even in Reaper. So you could bring up a list of all the items in Reaper, type in wave, move to the wave drop down to change it to MP3.
Yeah, so I think it's been quite a while. Like I said, it's been a while since I've been in Windows. Actually, it's been since I had to wipe my MacBook Pro. Would have been before that. So in my mind, I understand you're saying item choose. I'm like, yeah, I use that all the time. But I'm like, there's just something. But that just works on the web.
Yes.
With the thing. All right, well, cool. If this person is amenable, I would not mind having such a tool.
You got to install Windows before you can use it.
I mean, yeah.
I ain't going to send it to you until you get Windows installed. How about that?
I mean, I'm going to get around to that because I'm going to have to do it anyway. There's Shopify things that need doing now that I can't keep fighting with Chromium or Firefox. I had a weird experience with Firefox on the Mac the other day, so I'm in the products view or orders, one of them, with a table in Firefox. And why I can't navigate the table? Like, why is the table just, like there's nothing? Remember the whole Chrome on Mac OS and the table on Zendesk?
Yep.
Yeah. So it did this to me in Firefox. And I was like, man, what in the world is going on?
Switch to Parallels. Or just go buy a Windows machine.
I mean, there's one sitting right there.
I'll sell you Mallory's Surface Book. Don't tell her, though.
I want a Surface Book, man. Told you, if I buy a Windows laptop.
It's an X1 Carbon.
Carbon X1, man?
Yep.
Wait, is it X1 Carbon?
X1 Carbon.
Whatever.
Yep, X1 Carbon. Yep.
That one.
Do they have X1 Carbons with cellular?
That's a good question. That actually is a good second question, because my first question is going to be, I wonder if they make those with AMD, because I'm not sure if I want to jump on an Intel chip right now. I will ask the LLM.
Yes, Lenovo makes the X1 Carbon with optional cellular connectivity, WWAN, including the 12th and 13th gen, offer 5G. Huh. I don't know. No. Go away. Go away. Go away. I don't need to look at new laptops. Man, that's such a nice laptop. That X1 Carbon is a nice laptop. I had one 2 years ago. Then they took it away from me. I should have just kept it.
All right. Looks like they do also make them with AMD chips.
Damashe might be going shopping.
Nah.
Man, people be following me on Substack, so.
Never mind. They do not have it with AMD chip.
Oh. They might not make it with cellular either. To be frankly honest, I just grabbed the AI search from Google, and that was its summary. So it is very possible it lied to me. I didn't do any research. So do your own research. But it looks good on paper.
Yeah. I mean, I could see them doing cellular. Looks like they have a slightly... they do have a laptop that is close to the X1 that comes with an AMD chip. But if I want the X1 Carbon specifically, according to Claude, I would have to be on Intel. That is a no-go.
I believe Claude a lot more than almost any of the other AIs. I don't know why. I just...
Because they have conditioned your mind to believe that Anthropic is the better of them and that they're really going to be careful about what they're doing. Also, I would say they all seem to have gotten a little denser recently.
Not quite sure where you're going with that, because that could be taken a couple of different ways.
But Claude seems to be less so. Like, so I went and did something in GPT, and first they've tweaked the behavior, which obviously I could probably go in and retweak it, but they seem to have tweaked it from what I had it set to. So like, it's not overly, I'm trying to come up with a word. It's not all friendly and happy and like, oh, that is a wonderful idea. Like, it's trying to be more or less of that at this point, and it's so obvious that it's trying to be less sycophantic is the word that people have been trying to use, because what I was coming up with was not the right S word. But it's so obvious that it's trying not to be that it is not going too far in the other direction. It's just like you really just kind of missed what you were going for. You should have left my settings alone in the first place, because we wasn't actually having that problem. But its answers were just like, wait, let me make sure I'm on 5. Yep, this is 5.4. I don't know. Like, it seems like 5.4 should be better than 4.6, just looking at numbers, but we know that ain't how it works.
Maybe we all been learning math wrong. I miss 01 reasoning. I remember when I'd switch to I think it was 01 or 03 reasoning, one of those reasoning ones, and be like, oh, this is so amazing. I miss that sometimes.
Yeah. It seems like that it's like Claude even has gotten a little, I feel like I have to coach it a little bit more sometimes.
Yes. But maybe this new Claude coming out, you won't have to coach as much.
Man, if we ever get that new Claude that's coming out.
They're saying next week. They're saying this week or next week.
Oh, they're talking about, okay, I thought you were talking about the Mythos.
Oh, yeah, I don't know that we'll ever get that one.
Yeah, but I mean, isn't that like the government having tanks and you can't buy a tank? Like, why is that fair?
Yeah.
I mean, if I can afford a tank, I should be able to get a tank, is what I'm trying to tell you. Like, that's the way I feel. But I also don't feel like you should, price the building of a tank out to a point that it's just completely unaffordable except by governments and Apple, because that don't seem fair. I am glad. I don't think it's all hype. I think some of it might be hype, like over exaggeration, but I don't think it's all hype. I am glad that they are trying to take that Mythos model and patch up a lot of the fragility that I have known it's been around software for a long time. I might have could have pointed to you and be like, hey, there's a bug in this that allows that. Like, I couldn't have done that. But just given the way a lot of this stuff started, like the internet and the protocols that allow the internet to work, like they're very creaky, and we've built a whole lot of stuff on top of them over the years that they were not designed for to begin with.
Yeah.
So obviously there are going to be bugs. It's just people haven't found them, or the people who have found them ain't talking because they work at 3-letter agencies that should really start sending me my shows that we have over the phone. But we ain't gonna call nobody out though.
Because we had some good shows on the phone.
Yeah, we have, man. We what's weird though is like now the shows that we do now oftentimes really do, I think, more than people realize, mirror our phone conversations, because there are weeks that we don't talk until we're sitting down to do the show, which is sometimes weird for me too. It's like, wait a minute. Like I
think it's less weird now, closer to you going into Gentry. Like if you would have told me before Mallory's made this comment. She goes, if I would have known that you and Damashe wouldn't be talking as much after his vending program, then it would have been a shock to her, because there were times where we would talk for hours a day.
Yeah. Well, see, what changed more than anything is that after vending, especially now, is like Mike has a job, and Mike has like 3 different jobs that he's doing, and then he's doing all this other stuff. So it's like it's less possible than it used to be to just be like, oh well, I got a break, or I'm taking a break for a second, or oh man, I just had this thought, let me call Mike, and like we got 30 minutes to sit around on the phone for me. It's like Mike probably looks at the phone like, nope, can't answer that now.
There's been a time or two where I'm like, nope, I'll call him back.
And sometimes Mike calls me and I'll look and I'm like, I can't answer that now.
Yeah. Because I know that it's going to be, it typically won't be just a real quick call. But like I've called you in the past and just been like, hey, I want to tell you this. And then it turns into a 30, 45-minute conversation. Yep. And that's how it used to be. But anyways, yeah, as you were saying, there are times when we just don't talk for a week, and then we sit down, and then we've got 1,000 things to catch up on.
We've got to catch up on all the stuff that's happened, which means we end up having like a good 45-minute to hour-long conversation after we stop recording, because there's stuff we absolutely can't talk about on the show because that ain't my business to tell, or that ain't your business to tell, or, we just can't talk about that thing. And nope, it's not bonus content. Don't nobody email and say, hey, we like this bonus content. Cause listen, like,
nope,
I ain't saying nothing else other than like, things could happen if we were to disclose some of the things that we have had conversations about. And
then we get the email and we're like, AI was on. Oh,
that did actually happen one time. He's like, wait, we didn't talk about that in the show. Oh crap.
Yeah. Good times. So AI is always listening. That's the lesson from this TW159.
Yeah, man. Especially with certain 3-letter agencies, they probably just, had the AI just running all the time now, just, sucking up your conversations. Could at least give us a transcript to the show. I mean, geez. Then we could make it work. So back to NVDA for you real quick. Did you find it difficult to, again, I know there's somewhat of I don't say learning curve, but like differences in the way that things work, but like, was it hard to pick it up? Did you start by tinkering with it or using it like when it was non-critical work and slowly bring it into, this is just what you turn on most times now? Or did you just jump in one morning like, today I'm going to do all my work in NVDA?
So how it actually started is I was doing a very long back and forth conversation with Claude. And I found that JAWS with most AI, most Claude and ChatGPT, if you get into having very long conversations, JAWS became very sluggish. And I'm not sure if that means that it's buffering the entire conversation or what it is doing, but one day I just tried switching over to NVDA. And when I switched over to NVDA, I was able to navigate the chat window just fine. Didn't have any issues with it. So, I think it was just solving that problem of, I'm running into this buffering issue. I'm running into an issue where JAWS is becoming very sluggish. So I switched over to NVDA, and then I continued having the conversation. And I realized, I don't have to switch right now. And I just kept having it. And then things came up and I had to handle those things. And I forgot that I was using NVDA for a little bit. And then when I had to switch browse mode, for example, I'm like, why is enter not working? Oh yeah, got to hit NVDA space to switch between browse mode. And so I think really that's just what it was I ran into some barriers, solved those barriers, and then forgot how I solved them. And what really helped, well, this is kind of funny, but really helped is I bought, and no, he did not sponsor it, but if he'd like to, he can, the Eloquence SAPI 5 voices from AT Guys. And having the the voice that my mind associates with JAWS, I think probably helped quite a bit. And then it said Wednesday, and I'm like, what the hell is this? Because that version of Eloquence says Wednesday, a little weird. Just saying. I think it says it like Wednesday or Wednesday, or yeah, it's different. That one, there's a couple of words where it's like what? It's the same voice, but it's not the same voice.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should actually buy myself one of those licenses because I do need one. Because that is my preferred voice with Windows screen readers. Also,
I even use it with Narrator. And I found it helped my narrator experience as well. Because the keystrokes with narrator are pretty similar to what they are with JAWS and NVDA. So when you get that voice to what you're used to, I think it could all be in my head, but I think I'm more productive with it then.
That I should try that myself because I have never tried that with narrator. But I can often feel myself like being a little more hesitant or something with narrator and it could just be it. Like the voice just isn't right. So I should try that.
Yeah, you should. I'd be curious on if you played with it a little bit. The other thing about NVDA or narrator with Eloquence as well is you feel comfortable with it, but for me, what I tell people often is I'm like, what the cool thing about narrator and Mac OS is guess what? You could use your caps lock left and right arrow key on both VoiceOver and on Windows. So it makes that cross-platform experience a little bit better, in my opinion, too.
It definitely can. Although I haven't tried it recently, so I shouldn't say that. In the past, I have found using caps lock without...
Change that keyboard setting in Parallels.
No, it's not a Windows issue. It's a Mac. It's a VoiceOver issue.
Using caps lock as your VoiceOver modifier?
Yeah. But I will say, like, the issue seems to arise from the fact that I feel like I'm trying to reclaim two keys. So if I switch to using my caps lock key for VoiceOver, my expectation is, because I will just make it just be caps lock, now I can use Control and Option for all kinds of shortcuts. And that tends to have a little breakage.
Yeah, it does. It does. And I just realized that I have both caps lock and Control Option as my VoiceOver modifier.
Well,
but I usually use caps lock.
Yeah, I was going to say that seems to work more consistently when you do that, though.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's actually what mine is set to at the moment. But that just seems to be more consistent in your usage. You don't end up in some weird issues where, like, all of a sudden you can't navigate with VoiceOver and weird stuff. And more importantly, you don't have those things where, like, all of a sudden your Control Option something shortcut doesn't work. It's like, but that's annoying to me. Like, I feel like Apple needs to really fix that bug, because if I'm using caps lock as my modifier, I should be able to reclaim Control and Option as potential modifiers, especially with the number of shortcuts and custom shortcuts that you can set up on Mac OS before you even get to a tool like Keyboard Maestro or something like. Can I have my 2 extra keys back? Is all I'm asking.
So over the next week or so. Listeners who've listened for a little while might know that I brought this up a couple of episodes ago. I think it was like 154 or something. That is to vibe code a utility allowing me the ability to interact with my Stream Deck and assign stuff to it. And I went nowheres with it. But someone, and I'd like to think they heard about it on our show and got the idea. So if you did, let us know and share this episode with a friend. If you didn't, hopefully you'll hear this episode. Anyway, someone went and vibe coded a utility to allow you to configure your Stream Deck. Now, it is my understanding that it crashes quite a bit on the Mac and it works quite regularly on Windows. So I might go in and see if there's anything I can do to help with that and experiment with it. But I am very excited about this. So in the next week and a half, I'm going to endeavor to set up the Stream Deck. The problem is, and we go back to what Damashe and I talked about earlier in this episode, now that I have the ability to set up my Stream Deck, what the hell do I set up on my Stream Deck? So,
I mean,
there's so many options.
Bunches could be a thing to bring back, or setting up it to run some of your keyboard Maestro macros.
I'm not even running keyboard Maestro macros, though.
Yeah, I'm not either at the moment. Although there's a couple that I missed, but also it'll be okay.
Now, I will say,
explore launching specific audio hijack sessions. Like triggering those.
Yeah, that could work.
Look into the configurations for different profiles in sound source. Could be useful.
A friend of the show used vibe coding to build himself a Apple script that will, using system voice, provide you the information related to the remaining time in Farrago, which Rogue Amoeba, just saying, if you're listening, it sure would be nice to be able to get that information without having to hack something together. But that might be a use for a Stream Deck.
Yeah, that could definitely be a use. What are you trying to get out of Farrago? Like, you start a clip playing and you want to know how much time is left on that particular...
Yep.
Okay.
Because the way you can get it now is to VL left and right arrow back to the clip itself, which requires you to actually be in Farrago.
I was going to say, that requires you to be in the app. I don't like that as a solution.
I don't like it either. So.
Well, I will say, maybe Rogue Amoeba could, just write a Apple script that they offer or something to do that.
They're going to send this Apple script to Rogue Amoeba. But this is what I'm trying to do.
At the same time, the fact that it's Apple scriptable should be applauded, because there's a lot of stuff that has come out recently, or major updates that happened to apps over the past few years, where it's like, oh, our Apple script supports this, we got rid of it. Nobody was using it. It's like, yeah, but you don't have shortcuts. So like, what do I do with you now?
And the other thing to think about is the fact that it's Apple scriptable means that next July they could break that, and that's what I don't like about it. I mean, it's nice, but
that they could break the Apple script.
That they could break the Apple script itself. Yes.
I mean, unless Apple actively kills Apple script, I would, especially with something like Rogue Amoeba's tools, I would not expect that to be a thing.
Yep.
Unless they like radically redesign the app, which I didn't have a whole lot of Apple script. I didn't have any Apple script set up before I went to, version 4 we're on now of audio hijack. So, but I don't think you had to rewrite stuff. Is like more or less it just expanded, it expanded what you could do without breaking the existing thing, which is the optimal way to go.
I am running one Apple script on my Mac right now. Well, I mean, I guarantee there are more Apple scripts, but I'm running one intentional Apple script, and that's my remaining time in the current minute Apple script.
Well, yeah, so you can put that on the Stream Deck.
Yep. I could hit, and then I don't have to hit Option-Shift-T. I can just hit a key or double press it.
You can just hit a key. All right. So I did not realize that GitHub repo was vibe coded. So I'll take a look at it when I move my desk into my office, because right now I don't need to take anything else out of a box that I'm going to have to move later.
This person, and I'm not calling them out, but if they share on their own socials, and they can. But this person told their friend, they said, "Hey friend, you know what you should vibe code?" And the friend said, "What?" And they said, "A Keytron, an accessible Keytron interface."
Oh, an accessible Keytron interface?
Yeah, Keytron, not Keytron, Keytron.
Yeah,
to assign keys to things, because apparently that app's probably just as bad as Logitech's.
It's a web app, at least the one that I looked at for my Keychron keyboard. And I, being the non-judgmental, objective person that I happen to be, feel like I should give it a try on the Windows before I say, "Oh, this is crap and super difficult to use." It doesn't seem extra difficult on Mac OS, just more cumbersome and fiddly than I probably want to deal with. Also, there's the problem, like, what do I actually want to customize the keyboard to do? Like, I don't know. What's the thing I do routinely enough that could be just triggered by one key? Like open Helium? Like I just hit Command Space and type H.
Press and hold H and it's open.
Right.
Oh. I have one more quick tip, and then I feel like I've been talking a lot, but if you want to bring something else up or we can wrap it up, it's up to you. But you know, when you open a upload dialog, right? You go to a web page, you click that button that says no file selected, and you hit that, and then you can navigate the Finder at that point to find a file and then hit enter to upload it. Is that how you upload files?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I learned 2 days ago that you can copy a file from Finder, and then when you hit that browse button, just paste it and hit enter, and it moves your focus right to that file you copied and uploads that file for you.
Oh man, that is cool as hell. I like that.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, where do you paste it? And the person's like, oh, just right there on that dialogue that you get, whether that be a table or a list or columns. But yeah, just paste it right there.
Obviously, if you're doing things right, it should be a list, but carry on.
Column. And then, and then you just paste it and it moves your focus to that specific file and you hit enter.
Call who and tell them what?
What?
You said call them. Who do you want me to call and tell them?
Call call someone that cares.
Oh man, but that is cool. That is, yeah.
Yeah.
There are times where that can be extraordinarily useful.
Yep.
Because you're several folders deep and you're like, yep, there's the file I needed just to make sure that it was there. And then you open up this window to upload the file like in downloads or something. You're like, man, do I really?
Yeah. Do I need to upload this file now?
Well, no, I do need to upload the file. It's like, do I really have to navigate here? Wait, how did I get there? Let me see. Command Shift G, and then you start trying to type so you can navigate quicker. And it's like, wait, I don't remember the name of that folder. Crap.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's handy. I like that.
So that is your.
So that means in theory, I don't even have to do that. I could just go Command Space. Boom,
I have not tried that yet.
Copy it and paste it like that, man. I think I'm going to try that. I have to upload something here in a minute. So I'm going to try that. That is a cool tip.
Speaking of LaunchBar, I know I said I had one more, but a new version of LaunchBar is available. LaunchBar version 6.23. And release notes significantly include voiceover. The very first thing says, this release brings substantial improvements to voiceover support throughout LaunchBar. For details, see the accessibility section below. So
I don't think I have that update. Oh, wait a minute. I might have gotten that update because I did top grade yesterday or today, so I might have actually have gotten it.
So someone mentioned that to me, and I am on 6.22.2 or something, so I hadn't done this update, so I'm doing the update right now because you mentioned LaunchBar, and I'm like, oh, wait, that's right. They told me to update LaunchBar. So
what was broken, though?
Huh?
What was broken?
I don't know.
Or what was the problem? Oh, maybe they fixed some of the stuff in the index view where you're trying to set up like different things to index and what you want to choose like that. That was a little hinky compared to what it used to be.
So, that is one thing. Okay, hold on. I'm going to try something real quick. And if this works, this is a test, cut, and then Okay. I don't know if that's new or not, but I wrote this is a test and then I cut it. And then when I do my keystroke for clipboard history, it says application. This is a test text copied 14 seconds ago from drafts, 56 characters or however many. That's not how many characters it is, but it gives you that much information now too. 15 characters, not 56 characters. That's interesting.
Oh, no, I am on 16.22.2.
So you should update and maybe read the update notes. So update to drafts. I mean, no, update. Can you tell I was testing in drafts? Oh, update to LaunchBar.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't think it was, but that was not a feature prior to that. All of that stuff, it read you on your clipboard. So yeah, I'll update. And
I'm just glad to see it still being developed. Like,
you know, I'm slightly torn. Like, I am glad they're still working on it too. I'm a little torn because I feel like we're getting kind of stupidly ridiculous with the 6.22 and 6.20. Like, will you just go to, but at the same time, it's like, maybe you shouldn't go to 7 because, you know, who knows what you're going to try to do because you think you need to do it.
Yeah. They have not put AI front and center in LaunchBar.
Well, I appreciate that. Like that I appreciate. What I don't want is a complete rewrite of the app in Swift for version 7, and then it behaves more like Raycast. Because I know that there are a lot of people that like Raycast, and I am not saying that you are wrong to like what you like. However, it does not feel great to me to use that app, so therefore it never stuck. Just like the other one that everybody used to like for years and years, Alfred, never stuck for me.
Nope. And I can't explain to you why it never stuck.
Nope. Me either. Other than it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
LaunchBar feels right. That's the only way I can say that's the only way I can explain that. And if you're that type of computer user, it'll make sense to you. And if you're not, then I cannot explain it to you. And they apparently made Mike very happy. They've cleaned up something in LaunchBar.
They have. So you don't have those two menu drop downs, to the one to the left and to the right of the edit box.
Ah, okay. But what do they do with them?
You hit Command comma to get into your preferences. You hit Command space and then Command comma.
You could always do that.
Oh, I don't know. I always went to that little thingy.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, why is that a big deal? Because like I don't use that unless I'm trying to get to the index and I can't remember the shortcut to
Command Option I.
Yeah, see, you tell me that right now, and I know this shortcut until I need to do it, and then I'm like, wait, is it Command Shift I? Is it you know what? Just go over there to that menu and go to it. But I've had to do that before too with like what is my shortcut for paste and remove from clipboard history? So yeah, I don't have a tip for people this week. I wonder if anybody can tell which microphone setup I might be using. I will give you a hint. I am using something that I previously used before. That is the setup. I forgot about that. Mike said I should ask people that question. Also, I was too lazy to go dig out a Zoom recorder and set it up and all of that. But I will do that just for thoroughness sake. And then I will, I want people to do a couple of things. One, if you can guess what I'm using today, and I'll give full credit if you guess the microphone. You have to guess the microphone correctly. The interface, I don't think, is all that important. If you get both of them, you get bonus points. If you get both of them, there might be a prize in it for you. Depends on whether or not you use Mac or Windows will dictate that greatly, but question. So I installed on the MacBook Air when I set it up VOCR.
Yeah.
It does not work. Like I press the shortcut, it makes the noise, but I never get the finished.
Did you go set all the proper permissions?
Yeah, I went through all of that.
The screen recording and the accessibility.
Yep, screen recording, accessibility. There's another one with private access to something. But yeah, it has all the permissions turned on. Screen curtain is not on. Voiceover hints or whatever it is. No, that little panel thing is off because, it's good. Just turn that off. Then people can't look over your shoulder and be like, oh, How did you type that fast? How do you understand it saying, stop looking at my screen, mind your business? It ain't working.
So I just pressed Command Shift Control W, and it popped up an alert that says VOCR is requesting to bypass the system private window and directly access your screen and audio. This will allow VOCR to record your screen, including personal and sensitive information that may be visible and audible. And this seems like
new. That's because there's a new feature that does something with that. I forget what that feature is.
If I hit allow.
I did that one too.
And then I do. And it does nothing.
Aha. Okay. So that means it's something to do with that new feature that deals with the recording of your screen, because maybe it's listening for something.
Stop listening.
That's funny. That's just what I was about to say. Other than, hey, listen, OCR the screen.
Let's see, VOCR. I'm going up to the app. There's preset settings updates. So if I go to updates, are there any updates? Let's see.
No.
3.0.0 beta 2. I don't know if that's which one you're on. Man, why if I hit up, don't get me started on these freaking system windows. Just saying. System dialogues.
What version are you on?
3.0.0 beta 2.
Yeah, that's what I'm on.
Okay, so I'm going to go into VOCR.
Can I go back to a previous version?
Oh. Okay.
This is a beta. I don't know that I want to be on the beta anymore. I don't like the betas. You're breaking my work. That's also why that's actually why I have not installed Parallels. Getting back around to that whole thing right there. It's because VOCR is broken. I haven't even tried it. That is, every time I think about, I should install it, like, this app is broke though. How do I do this? I guess I'll put on stupid meta glasses and look at my screen with the AI or something and see if that'll work.
This is going to bother me now. Man, thank you for telling me that it's an issue, because I wonder.
I'm going to go check the GitHub repo, because it's been long enough now that maybe he has a fix that patches it. But like, it seems that a lot of people had issues with their automatic update server deals a little while back. So we'll see. We'll figure it out. Otherwise, I may figure out how to go back down to a previous version. Just pull an older version and install it, because it's kind of annoying not to have Windows on my Mac.
Yeah, and it's one of those things you're like, I don't want to be on there, but I need Windows, and I'm trying something right now to see if this fixes it. Nope. I haven't tried to reset.
Yeah, so I've tried that too. I wonder if I go take away that one permission, if it'll work.
Or does hitting allow actually give it that permission? And do you have to go into settings to give it that permission?
No, it has the permission, whatever it was.
If you're using VOCR, I'm gonna quit you.
Also, I wanna just, make my typical, every 6 to 8 week protest / advice to Mac OS developers or iOS developers. If your app for some reason legitimately needs network access or Bluetooth access, you should explain why in your dialogue. Because if you don't, and it does not make sense to me, I'm going to tell you no.
Yeah, my banking app doesn't need Bluetooth access.
And I could be significantly breaking functionality in the app, but I'm not going to think about that. That's the reason that this isn't working the way it's supposed to work. I don't think this applies to VOCR for people listening, but I just had an app ask me for like network access. Well, Zoom just asked me for this again today. And I was like, I don't need you to be connecting to stuff from my network. Go away. SoundSource asked for it, and in their thing, they were like, well, SoundSource uses this to connect to AirPlay devices to find and connect to AirPlay devices. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Chrome, why do you need network access? I have no idea other than you're nosy.
It needs
So
to
that's
check
how
for
I'm going to take
updates, Damashe, don't you know? And you might have a local Chrome update server on your network, and it needs to just make sure that you don't already.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, that is a very plausible reason. It's also just scan your network to figure out which devices you have so it can target ads at you. That could also be a thing.
And to detect who you actually are because you have the same devices on your network most of the time. Because, that's how we track. That's all I got.
Yeah, that's all I got for today. Well, thank everybody for listening.
Pay your taxes.
You listen.
Wrap it up. Wrap it.
You can send us feedback. The email address, as I mentioned earlier, feedback@technicallyworking.show. Listen, I say this periodically, so I'll say it again. It is over once you type .show. Like there's nothing else that comes after that. Okay, so feedback@technicallyworking.show. Don't add anything after the W and show. Just you're done. Type your email. It's too bad we can't do anyway. We're on Mastodon. He's Payon, PAYOWN @dragonscave.space. I am Damashe, DAMASHE @technically.social. You should follow the bot. TW @technicallyworking. Nope, that's not where that goes. The bot is TW @technically.social. Little Freudian slip there. Hashtag technically working. Capitalized T and the W. We will see you if you're on Mastodon and you post this. I don't think at this point that we will see you if you're somewhere else and you use the hashtag. Because the Fediverse just ain't feding at the moment. It ain't federating at the moment. And what I mean by that is like, everybody says they're doing a thing and they're federating and blah, blah, blah. But they don't quite seem to be all the way there. So, hopefully that'll happen. What else? Thanks to our tip jar subscribers. We appreciate all of you. I'll remind you, especially if you're new, you don't know what the tip jar is. The tip jar is a way that you can go support the show. You can do a one-time tip. It's kind of like you go out, have a decent dinner or whatever. You tip the service person, the wait staff. That's the word I think we came up with last time. Yes. I was trying to figure that out. Cause everything else sounds slightly weirder than it really should. So yeah, you tip the wait staff. You can do that for the show. Like, oh, that episode was really good. I got a lot of enjoyment out of that. I'll give them a one-time tip. Or you can be like the most amazing people in the world, who even though gas prices and chicken and eggs and, rice is going through the roof, they're still supporting us on a monthly basis with a subscription. You could also do that. It doesn't make you, it's fine if you only want to do a one-time tip. That's perfectly fine. It's just you're more awesome than your awesomeness is already considered to be if you're doing a subscription. Like subscriber number 1. Yes. Shout out to them.
And they know who they are.
And no, we don't know who they are. They know who they are, but we do not know who they are. If there was a Bible anywhere near, I would put my hand on it too. Like, I swear I don't. People actually think that we know who this person is, but we don't.
I think we've emailed them.
We've had email conversations with this person, but we still don't know who they are. We don't have a name. We don't have anything. Other than the email address. And the email address is, if it was, I wouldn't tell you.
But it doesn't give it away.
It doesn't give away anything. Like, we literally don't know who this person is. Yeah. They could be anybody.
Still around.
But they're still here. And we appreciate it. Like, they've been here. Nobody else can ever take that crown.
Nope.
Fortunately, whether you're a man or a woman, you can wear a crown. So nobody else can take that crown of being subscriber number 1. They were here first. When we started, they were the first one to sign up, and many of you don't. A lot of you are new, super new. Shout out to all the new people
Yes.
That we have gotten. At one point, we broke the tip jar subscription because of, things like it wasn't done on purpose. It's just because, we forgot how things were kind of interconnected, which is why
now
sometimes.
I'm just like, I ain't touching it. I ain't canceling anything.
Which is why sometimes before you pull on a thread, you need to see what it's actually connected to, because you could bring some whole, glass jars down on your head. I'm just telling them, giving people advice in life. You sometimes forget how things are interconnected. At any rate, when we realized that it was broken and we brought it back, subscriber number one was the first person to resubscribe when the thing came back. I don't even know how they knew it was back, but like, whatever. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, and I'm telling you people listening, though, especially the small number of people who have said to me, I know you know who subscriber number one is. I don't know.
No.
He doesn't know.
Nope.
For all I know, it could be Melania Trump. We really don't know. But thanks to subscriber number one, and thanks to all our other subscribers too, man. We do have some people known to us that haven't given us permission to use your name. Therefore, we never will, until said permission is given. But we do have people that are supporters that are tip jar subscribers that are very well known to us. Mm-hmm. Whether, personally or, through, nerd fame or something. I don't know exactly how to put that, but being in the technology sphere, I'll say it that way. Yes. But thanks to all of you, whether you are a recurring subscriber or you have tipped us once, we appreciate it. But honestly, you're one of the most awesome people in the world. Just because you're listening to me say these words right now, are probably being like, when is this dude going to stop talking? I thought the show was over.
When the next show starts is when we're done.
All right, now we're done, because I don't even know what to say after that, man. But listen, you're awesome for listening. We appreciate all of you. Tell a friend, post about it on whatever social media platform you're on. We don't care if you post about the show on X, just neither one of us is there. But it doesn't mean you can't tell people on X about the show. I have no problems. Nope. I ain't worried about it at all. Cause they come over here to, Mastodon with that foolishness, then, we just block them, keep moving. Appreciate everybody for listening. This has been Technically Working episode number
159. We're almost to 160, but 159.
He ain't forget. He didn't forget
I did it this time. Did you notice I've been keeping those in too sometimes?
No, because I don't listen to the show.
I know, but we'll reference it. Like, I've been ending it right after, like a little bit, maybe a couple seconds after the show, or the show.
Oh, yeah, I noticed you, but I don't know if you actually go in and edit them out or not in the final product, because I don't listen. I was there and did the show. Although that was the thing we were supposed to tell people, like how amazing the show is, because you're listening to a podcast and all of a sudden Technically Working comes up in your rotation and you're just listening. You're like, man, this is a good conversation. Oh, wait, I remember this conversation. I did it.
More coming about that soon.